Opposition Leader.
Thank you, Assistant Speaker. Assistant Speaker, my question without notice goes to the good Treasurer. But before me making my talk, on behalf of the people of Chuave and the opposition, mila making big bla look sawa stret lo Governor blo New Island, the Honourable Byron Chan, welcome back to the House. Now, on the same token, big bla look sawa lo the Nupla member of the Day Council, who was an outstanding lawyer in private practice. Na mibla very blessed to see that I'm coming said Laos, the Honourable Desmond Keeper. Assistant Speaker, my question will be very short. We have been grey-listed by FATF after 2 years of the Treasurer just sitting on his laurels on a big holiday. He was given the Mutual Evaluation Report in 2024, and he did nothing about it, and now here we are. Now, it's easy to say in the Honourable House that we can dismiss grey-listing as something nothing. It doesn't really affect us, and it doesn't affect the bulk of the population because, you know, we're a country of subsistence farmers. We own our own land, and that's why we're so lucky and we're so blessed. But because we're import dependent, it has an indelible impact on foreign investment and on inflation. So now my question, Assistant Speaker, is on devaluation of the Kina. Now, initially in 2024, when the Treasurer announced the depreciation 21-point crawl peg depreciation strategy, it has remained opaque, and to date we don't know when the depreciation of the Kina will end. Now, 1 Kina equals 19 US cents. This is unprecedented. My questions to the Honourable Treasurer, Assistant Speaker, is 1. How will he tighten monetary policy? 2. How will he increase FX reserves? And 3. How will he enforce structural reforms to boost agriculture? These are my 3 questions, and I do not expect a vapid response. I expect the good Treasurer to tell the people of Papua New Guinea, because they're being hit by inflation, there's a cost of living crisis, they can't afford rice and tin fish, and it's hitting every family in the country. Thank you, Assistant Speaker.
Minister for Treasury.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank the opposition leader for his 3 short questions. And firstly, correct him. I haven't been sitting on my laurels with work related to FATF. Again, you just get the facts wrong. You should research your questions before you make those comments. I say that, Mr. Speaker, because the National Coordinating Committee, the FATF National Coordinating Committee, that has oversight over our 23 agencies dealing with grey listing. I was appointed chairman last year in June, well after the first visit from October 2024, where we had the MER, the Mutual Evaluation Report, was completed, and well after 40 reform measures had to be dealt with. So I just wanted to cover that. On his questions provided today, how will we increase our foreign exchange? I think you touched on where we will end up with our plan to deal with foreign exchange. I'm happy to share with this Parliament, Mr. Speaker, and add on to what he thought I had said 2 years ago. Mr. Speaker, to put into context the question on foreign exchange, you will recall when we took over office, there were so many complaints that we had no access to foreign exchange. When we took over office, we had a little over 2.4 billion in outstanding foreign exchange orders. That was the amount. And if we all can recall, it took typically between 12 to 18 months, even more, to get ourselves foreign exchange. So that was the big issue then, and so we, together with our international partners, put forward a plan. And that plan was to try and achieve what we call Kina convertibility. That is to ensure that every Papua New Guinean, as I've said in this House, can convert their Kina to any currency at any amount at any time. So that involved having to deal with the overvaluation of the Kina to the US dollar. Yep, and the theory then, Mr. Speaker, and I use the word theory, because no government since independence had or has presented a clear plan to address this problem. So it was untested territory. We had to make some very difficult decisions. And whilst we do that, Mr. Speaker, we're mindful also on the effects it has on our people, especially cost of living. So the issue then, if we all recall, we were advised that the Kina was overvalued compared to the US dollar. Figures ranged between 10 to 16%. Today, I'm advised, and we hope to have that confirmed when the IMF reach PNG at the end of this month for our sixth of our seventh review, the figure might be around 1.6% overvaluation. That's dropped down a lot. And then from there, we'll determine what the next course of action is. But, Mr. Speaker, the plan was, or the theory was, to address the overvaluation, after which investors, both domestic and international, would see that the Kina was now good value and foreign direct investment would kick in. That was the theory. And up until we deal with that matter, then we really can't expect significant foreign direct investment to take place. Now, where will we end up with the depreciated strategy that we have? I think most of the reports, if you don't want to take it from government, most of our reports that's shared by our commercial banks have made it very clear. Soonest we can get FID, final investment decision, on our resource projects, at that point, resources or FDI will come in, and that will drive the value of the Kina and increase our exchange rate. So that's where we are at this point in time. In relation to his question on the agriculture sector, what plans do we have to increase investments? Firstly, Mr. Speaker, we're pumping around 300 million into the sector this year. We've increased funding to coffee industry by about 60%, with over 90 million Kina allocated to the CIC. With record cocoa prices experienced last year, we've also increased funding to the board by about 7%, or 45 million Kina in 2025. I'm giving you 2025 numbers. We're providing 10 million Kina for coffee excess roads and 60 million for coffee and oil palm development programs. We're also growing the oil palm sector with about 48 million Kina, and I understand that's increased this year. So that's some of the initiatives we're doing to increase investments in the agriculture sector. Also, export subsidies, we've allocated last year 20 million Kina to the Department of Agriculture and Livestock to support their commodity price support program, and this promotes market access for that particular sector. We've also increased funding to the Fresh Produce Development Corporation last year by about 37%, or 29 million Kina, to support market supply chains and infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, all these numbers I've given you do not include the programs of many of our good leaders in this Parliament who have undertaken investments in agriculture using their PSIP and DSIP funds, and as well as administrative support for the various commodity program managers in their districts. Our government is also funding infrastructure developments. This will directly enable farmers to market access, as we're aware. And last year, we allocated $815 million to the Department of Works for various roads and bridges programs. And finally, we're also providing, last year we provided 72.5 million Kina into the PNG ports. That slowed down a little bit due to some of the scoping studies, but we're well focused to try and do that. And any other points that I may have missed, I'll ask him to shoot me a quick answer, and I'll give him a more detailed response with further numbers this week. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.